And what a lovely morning it is too, sun shining, blue skies, and I'm in the tiny village in Hessen, the village of Steinau, home to the Brothers Grimm and also home to me as a child. I used to come through all the summer holidays here, so did both my brothers and my sister. Let's have a look around the place. It's a 12th century walled city, and this is the school that I went to. This is the Grimm Brothers School, and we're heading towards the fortified town. As you can see, it has its own tower castle and is a complete, well fortified castle in the middle of the town. Basically, it was a defence system against the Huns, the Goths and the Visigoths, and then just about anybody else who wanted to come along. And the villagers lived outside of the town. As you can see, the houses, okay, a lot of these houses are about up to 400 to 500 years old. Some of them have been knocked down and rebuilt. It's a shame. And we're approaching what used to be the drawbridge, or it still is the drawbridge, but it's no longer, for the last 1,000 years, able to have been drawn. If we look at the main mansion part of the house, you can see a little, like a hut outside. Well, this was the very first, one of the very first castles that actually had reasonably hygienic toilets, in that you sat over the moat. The moat, which is down here, is now a children's play area and garden. As you can see, this was a play area even when I was a child. We used to love coming here. The interesting thing about this castle was that under the courtyard was a massive storage area, a place where the people could hide all their cattle and things to stop them being stolen. There's the tower. You can actually, on a good day, you can get permission to walk up the tower. That's the long gallery over there. And in fact, people actually still live in the castle here. This used to be the church. People actually have flats here and still live here. There's another one of these funny looking little toilets. And that's the mansion house. The correct mansion house. Belonging to the then Cardinal, I think. Not the Cardinal, the Bishop of Kassel, who actually lived here and provided the protection to his people. And here the figureheads of the two of the Brothers Grimm. In fact, I stayed last night in part of within the castle grounds. I stayed in the Bergman's house, which we'll have a look at later. Meanwhile, we'll go along here. This was the rest of the moat out here. This long building, which is now, well, has been a marionette theatre for about 200 years. But this was the barracks. If we scan around here, you see here the Katharinenkirche, which the 14th century church, which added later. This is where in fact my parents were married. In the background there you see the schoolhouse. This is where my mother lived as a child, and this is now the Rathaus. The Rathaus has a very long history. Just before the Second World War, in fact, it was the schoolhouse as well, where my grandfather taught. There you can see some of the statues that during the 100 Years' War with France were stolen, and in the last, I think, 25 years they actually found them again and put them back. Now the Grimm brothers are very much here the host of the town. They lived here. The father was the judge, and this is one of the fountains depicting some of the stories that they collected. They didn't write them, they went around Germany and collected the stories from all around Germany and put them together into the Book of Grimm stories. Their real job was to actually catalogue the German language, or the various German languages, to produce the rules of German grammatic that we know today, as that's called Grimm law. Later on we'll have a look at the location where the Grimms lived. This is the Marionettentheater, run by Familie Magensuppe, I think. And this was the original quarters of the guard, the Marstall. That will go a little bit further. It goes first of all through, it used to be through the cellars of the school. Just one set further. Okay, we just went through the first gate. This is coming up to the second gate of the town. And this was part of the town that was still within the walls. See there the building there. In fact, my grandmother had her flat there until 1959 when she moved out to her own house. This is where all the animals were kept for food, and that used to be a farmhouse. It's now an old folks home. Over here we have the old bakehouse, which I believe no longer produces bread, or occasionally produces bread. My uncle was in fact the honorary baker of the bakehouse, because he was the last person here in this area who could still work with a coal-fired oven. Down here we go towards the other church, the Jacobean church, which is now a Protestant church. All this was inside the walls, the town walls, so all protected by the subsequent bishops that lived in the castle itself. It's interesting here that we have the magpie houses that we also have in Cheshire. The white part was originally made with flour, eggs and milk. The black part was pitch. And the brick was locally made in the brick kiln. It used to be around here. This used to be the brick kiln was around here. Going down here onto the main through road. See over there in the distance, that's where I spent the night, in the Bergman's house. This was a hotel, and coaching in since 1540, and now it's a specialist in wild kitchen, venison, pork, or rather wild pork, wild fish, anything like that. Courts, which is now the museum for the Grimm brothers. So if you can see that, and you can click on that, you can have a look more yourself. Run by a guy called Burkhard Kling. My aunt does the town guiding here. So that was the house, the Amtsgericht. That was the house of Grimm Senior, the judge. Apparently he wasn't a hanging judge. And there's the museum where you can always go down and have a look. And later on, we've got a little bit more time, I will try and have a visit through the museum and see if we can do a little bit of filming. Right, so again, a mansion castle with forecourt, stables. It was a very, very rich area since the 12th century. I have to change battery shortly, so I'll make this my final couple of minutes till the battery goes. Head up back through the castle and go and see my relations, and then if I've got a little bit more time this afternoon, and some of the places do open on Sundays, we'll see if we can pop in. Thanks for watching, see you later.